So this is just a summary of probability. It's good to keep things simple, but probability is one of the hardest topics as we go forward. So let's just get it right in our head. There's a couple of rules. We start with the easy one. Let's just start with our rules. Probability equals WO. PO. That's an easiest. Wanted outcomes over possible outcomes. What could be simpler? Then we go on to relative frequency, which is experimental probability. That's the one where I'm tracking how many goals Lucy gets when she's practicing, that sort of thing, or I'm an archer shooting at a bullseye. That's number of outcomes over number trials. You can see that WOPO and that are exactly the same. So if you get the rules messed up, it doesn't really matter. It's still the same thing. Then we've got probability of A or B, or is plus. Or is plus. Then we've got probability of A and B, and is times. We've got one more which sort of didn't get much airtime through the lessons. Probability of A plus the probability of not A is 1. That's a rule that we just know instinctively. So let's just say the probability that's raining tomorrow is 0.2. What's the chance that it's not going to rain? We just know that it's 0.8 because together they add up to get 1. That's the probability of A. This thing says not A, so rain and not rain. Yep. So that's a rule, but we just sort of know that. That's not rocket science, that one. Okay. Because it gets confusing, let's just write a note here. The OR rule is usually a single event. I'm doing one thing. I'm rolling a die. I'm rolling it once. What's the chance it's either a 2 or a 5? I'm looking at a race. It's one race. What's the chance that Jenny or Peter wins that race? I'm looking at the weather tomorrow, one day. What's the chance that it is either rainy or cloudy? I'm doing one thing. So the OR rule is one item happening. When we are looking at the AND rule is multiple events. So the AND rule, I'm throwing a die and a coin. So I've got two things happening for the probability of A times the probability of B. Yep. Sometimes when you're doing two things, you're going to do a two-way table. Three things, you're going to do a tree diagram. Sometimes you will need to do a two-way table and then actually do the same question again and get the same answer using your rule. That's in those worksheets for you. Let's do a little bit of a harder AND question to show you where probability can get. I am going to draw out 2 cards from a deck. I'm feeling lucky. I think could get 2 aces. I'd like to get 2 aces, but I'd be happy if they're kings. What's the chance that I get either 2 aces or 2 kings. Okay. When I'm pulling these 2 cards out, I'm going to pull a card, I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to put the card back, and then I'm going to pull another one. That just keeps it as simple as we can for grade 8. So I'm looking at the probability of 2 aces or 2 kings. So this or is plus. And the way that I'm going to look at 2 aces is that's a probability of an ace and another ace. And the 2 kings is a king and then another king. So, okay. This and there is times. So the first ace, there's 4 out of 52, and then times 4 out of 52. Then I've got a plus. The king, well, there's 4 kings times 4 kings. Where's the calculator? That is, which means that's 2 on 169. So what we can do is we can embed an or and an and, or 2 ands in the one question, and it can become quite complex. It's easy enough to follow, but hard to do when you don't have a hint. Anyway, make sure you do as many of those questions, worksheet 1 and worksheet 2. Go forth and practice.